Welcome to the Climate Hive webcast. What do you solve? I'm Kevin Drolet, aka Kadro, and I'm here with my co-host and Climate Hive co-founder, Mike Higgins, aka Higo. And we are super excited to bring a unique perspective to the show today. Our guest is Adeel Irshad, a thought leader, a speaker, a music lover, and the chief operating officer at EV Technology based in Oman. Adeel is a key architect of the successful transformation of SIIG from an oil and gas conglomerate into a sustainability-driven enterprise, leading the charge in electric vehicle sector in the MENA region. He is focused on innovating and modernizing projects to create sustainable supply chains while integrating advancements in EV battery manufacturing, commercial EV, AI, IoT, and autonomous vehicles. And Adeel has an extensive background in environmental sustainability, ESG principles, and project management with a focus on promoting business innovation aligned with net zero emissions and carbon neutrality goals. So Adeel is an expert basically in transforming companies, and we're excited because this perspective is something that we don't hear a lot about, EVs, particularly in the MENA region in the Middle East, right? So without further ado, thank you for joining us today, Adeel. So the first question we always ask, and the name of the program is what do you solve? And we'd love you to just dive into the work that you do and what you're solving for climate and what that experience is like for you.
Oh man, this is a broad question. I don't know how many minutes you have. So what do I solve? As the Chief Operating Officer for EV Technology, my mission is to address one of the most pressing challenges right now in our time, the transition to sustainable mobility operating from Oman and the broader GCC region. This is what I am. I work to bridge the gap between the growing demand of EVs and the infrastructure required to support them. This is just not about building charging stations, it's about creating an ecosystem that redefines the future of transportation, which aligns with Oman Vision 2040 and the global effort towards net zero 2050. What's the challenge about? I know a lot of people they ask me all this time. What's the challenge about? So the GCC region, if you look at it, it faces unique challenges in adopting EV technology. High temperature, for example, reliance on fossil fuels. You have very less of infrastructure for EV adoption, require tailored solutions. And furthermore, we also talking about global EV adoption on the rise. Gaps remain in ensuring affordability, accessibility, and operational efficiency. Now, what are my solutions which are in action for how do I solve it? So, building sustainable charging ecosystem, I believe EV adoption depends on seamless charging experiences. We all know about it because 70 to 80% of charging happens at home. Through my partnership with my new partnership with Go2U, which is an American company, as a charging point operator, and collaborations with global leaders like Star Charge, I'm working to deploy advanced AC and DC chargers across Oman. These efforts are complemented by plans to establish a local manufacturing facility to ensure regional self-sufficiency and reduce cost. Then you have localized solution for a global impact. This is very important. Oman's unique, if you look at Oman, unique geographic and economic positioning that allows us to pilot solutions that can be scaled globally. For example, uh, integrating EV charging with digital parking solutions that creates a model for smart cities and GCC and beyond. With a vision to capture, this is my vision, this is a vision of our corporate, this is our corporate vision as well, to capture 50% of the Oman EV and EVAC market by 2030 or 2035. So
Where,
for that,
where is that? Where is that market now? Just as a, what does the
uh,
growth look like for 50%?
from the 50%, I think right now we are looking at 10 to 12%, not more than that at this
Okay.
moment. Yeah. So I have developed for that. I have developed a pricing strategy for our EV technology to introduce smart vehicles uh, at the price rate of Omani Riyals 6,000 to 14,000 Riyals. These vehicles offer advanced technology at accessible price point and driving widespread adoption. Then we are talking about to innovate partnership, to have innovative partnership. Collaboration is the key. We all know that. Whether it's
Yeah.
whether it's engaging with Star Charge to enhance our EVSE technology, or working with EV OEMs to introduce EV and electric bikes and scooters, every partnership that aims to address specific market needs while contributing to global EV landscape, then a sustainable future in line with Oman's Vision 2040 is very important, because Oman has a vision which is 2040 and net zero 2050. So my work aligns with Oman aspirations for economic diversification,
Yeah.
technological advancement, and environmental sustainability. So by creating a robust EV ecosystem, I contribute to reducing the region's carbon footprint and enhancing energy efficiency. And then when you're talking about connecting my problems to the global mission, the work we do here in Oman resonates far beyond the region. Uh, so by solving challenges unique to GCC, such as heat-resistant charging stations and longer distance EV travel, we contribute innovation that can shape the global EV industry. So in a nutshell, my work revolves around solving a cleaner, greener, and smarter future of transportation, not only for Oman but for the world.
That's
Fantastic.
tremendous leadership. It really is. Um, let me ask you a question. So you have this really ambitious goal that you guys are just marching against, and that's fantastic. Let's talk about culturally. What are the challenges at the GCC level to electrification for, countries that have, you know, established themselves as oil producing? You know, how do you feel the people feel about that? And is it causing any headwinds for you?
Thank you so much, Mike. This is a very common question, and I always take it in this aspect that EV adoption globally is a challenge. This is number one. This should be very clear,
Right. Yep.
irrespective of the region or a marketplace, regardless where are you selling it, be it Tesla, be it BYD, BMW,
Yep.
Mercedes. Every brand or every market has its own challenges. This is number one.
Mhm.
So now, when you bring those challenges to a fuel dominant country or the region, then the challenges are there, because number one, the habits of the people can be changed very easily, and it cannot be changed by a force. It can only be changed by laws, by creating this scenario in a way that people will go towards adoption. Okay, what are the challenges the consumers are facing? Of course, the number one challenge the consumer would ask is affordability in electric vehicles,
Mhm.
because not everyone can afford Tesla, Mercedes, or BMW. Second challenge is the question comes when he buys an EV, where is my charging station at? So the
Mm.
infrastructure is another challenge, local and regional and global challenge. Number three is what is my aftermarket? Because when we buy a car, we look at the aftermarket. We always look at the aftermarket. Okay, I'm going to buy a car after 5 years. I can make this much money, and then I can put in some more money and buy a new car. Yeah, so these are the three, four challenges that we have. So, how are we working on it? I think regionally, the market is at a very developing stage. Number one,
Okay.
so very few brands are there in the market, and of course, you're talking about Tesla and BYD is competing globally, so they're competing in the regionally as well. So,
Right.
as you can see, the Teslas and BYD are more in the market.
It completely makes sense what you're saying. I mean, I think like in the US, range anxiety, I mean, the problems are really,
Yep.
we're all facing the same thing. And obviously the US produces a lot of fossil fuels, and just like the Mid East too. And there's headwinds here for, are people going to adopt electric vehicles and
Yep.
these kinds of things. So it is true what you're saying. Actually, it's insightful because it's similar challenges. I was thinking kind of coming in this conversation that, there's maybe a lot of people don't think about like the sustainability and electrification and EV
Hmm.
needs in this region. But how does Oman fare like against other countries in the region? Or
I
is
think
Oman like a leader, or what does that picture look like?
see, the beauty of Oman is that Oman has a Vision 2040. If you go and probably Google that vision, it is like a Bible for in terms of compliance and progression and transition towards sustainable development. That vision has sustainable in it. The vision has smart cities in it, transition towards renewable energy, transition towards electrification is also a part of it. And then they have 2050, which is very clear, carbon neutrality, which is a royal decree in Oman. That these are the goals set by the state level. So when the goals are set, of course, they are working on the compliance, they're working on the regulation, they're working on pushing the corporates level to go towards green mobility, to go towards this transition. So this transformation is already happening because of this. So I think, this is my personal opinion, other than my corporate image or my corporate opinion, that I personally feel that you need role modeling, you need education, and role modeling, education and awareness comes from the top level, where you create a vision. So there has to be a vision. For example, we would talk about Elon. The guy started simple business of electric cars or whatever the business he was having. He had a vision, and today, if you talk about him, I think he owns half of the global economy. You
Right.
see, so that's a vision you come up with. So now this is similar. It's the same thing that I'm talking about, the leadership. So Oman tops the regulation, compliance, and leadership in terms of this transition.
I couldn't agree more that it starts at the top, and it, and that leadership will guide it one way or the other. So that's fantastic. But let me ask you another practical question related to adoption. What does gas cost in Oman? Here in Colorado, for instance, it's about $2.80 a gallon, so about 70 something cents a liter, right? And our attitudes change as the price of gas ebbs and flows. Like it can be $4 a gallon or 4.50 a gallon, right? Or it can be even lower than it is now. And it seems public opinion on electrification changes with the price of gas, and because the United States is very much a truck economy. It's an SUV economy. It's a big car economy. V6 engines, V8 engines, power, all that stuff burns gas. So when those prices go up, alternatives become attractive.
Uh, Thank you so much. This is a good question, by the way. Now, the gas is very cheap here. The fuel is very cheap compared to you
Right.
guys. So this is
Right.
again a challenge for me. This is again a challenge for electric cars companies, because if you are going to buy an EV, we sell EV in the domain of it's a long-term investment, okay, and it's a cost of ownership. Whereas electric cars are a bit expensive because the cost of ownership is zero. Now, compared to Oman fuel prices are at now, I think 229 is the regular fuel, 229 base I'm talking about. I don't know how dollars. So at this price, you can buy water, a big bottle of water in Oman, 229 base. So now, when I'm talking to my customer and I'm telling him this, he's driving a 12-cylinder engine car or an 8-cylinder engine car, and these are very expensive cars. These are very fat engines. And I'm telling him to transition, to go towards the transition to electric mobility. The second question he's going to ask me is, why should I go? Because this car runs faster, and it is I can fuel it anywhere at any time. Why I have to go? Also, the fuel is cheap. Second thing, the electricity unit is cheaper than the fuel. So you know what I'm talking about. So
Right.
so so now what do I say when customers talk to me like that is that I tell them that I charge my car at the rate of $2, and I can drive it for 400 kilometers. Whereas you drive your car for the price of 12 Omani Reals, and you can drive it to 400 kilometers. So that's an economical difference. So this is where they get it. They said, yes, you're right. So a difference of $1 or $2 to drive 400 kilometer, and a difference of 12 or $15 to drive a 400 kilometer. It's a big difference. So so now the economical fight comes in.
To
Yeah. So
follow up,
go ahead, Kev.
well, I was just going to follow up on that because I know Adeel also like you're big into education. Like you put a premium on education, and you've been sought after like for providing education on the EV market, across the spectrum. But give us a sense, because actually this question of like people make the decision to transition because of education, people make the decision to transition to an EV vehicle because their neighbor has one, or because it seems like, hey, that's the cool car to have. I mean, I think sometimes people are like, oh,
Yeah.
that Lucid is just like a cooler looking. I want to be in the futuristic car. But what can you talk a little bit about your experience in sort of educating the public? How do you think the public transitions to EV globally? I mean, what does that look like? What's the role of education? What's the role of people just kind of doing what their neighbor does?
Thank you so much, Kevin. Again, this is a very similar question that I've been asked because I speak at university level. I am talking to them. I'm mentoring some projects at the university level, also. So again, this is very close to my heart. I believe that education plays a great role towards EV transition. How and why and how are we going to do this? I will explain to you.
Mm.
See, if we start educating people at the foundation level, at the school level, by the time the kid is adult, the we have educated him towards sustainability, climate change. This is very important. Climate change, sustainability is very important. Then the factors come towards EV transition, waste management, renewable energy. All these factors come. So when you educate your child from school at the foundation level towards climate change, I believe that your community is already ready because he knows about climate change, he knows about waste management, he knows about renewable energy, he knows about the resources that we are using and how do we use those resources in order for the other generations to come after us and they can use it. This is we're talking about sustainable development. Basically, you need to behave with your mother nature so that others can also use it. Now, how we are going to go towards this transition, again, in terms of role modeling, education, as I said, leadership, vision, role modeling is very important, be it any place. If you don't have, I was asked in one of my mentoring project that how can we do it? It's a big investment to invest in you or to to get into you to this region and educate our people. I said, you don't need to do this. You need to create a leader within your own self. Get one person,
Mhm.
get one role model. You promote him. Let him promote the EV transition, green mobility, waste management, renewable energy, climate change. This role model is very important for every region. And now a lot of time we make fun of. I don't do that, but a lot of other friends of ours they make fun of Greta Thunberg. But if you look at it and you listen to her, what she's talking about is all real and facts. You
Mm.
know that kind
Yeah,
of role modeling you need for the youth, and I think she is a great role model for youth.
Mm.
yeah, very
Well, and
interesting.
you guys have a nice horizon too with 2040 and 2050, right? That's 15 and 25 years respectively. So, when you're talking to children, right? By the time
Yeah.
2040 comes around, they'll be adults. They'll be young adults. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what you just said, which is start at a young age, educate
Yeah.
them with facts, create role models that they can lock onto, give them a
Yes.
vision for how the world could work, how it could be, and
Yeah.
why. And then when
Right.
they become consumers themselves with their own dollars, and it comes time to make a decision, they'll be that much farther down the road. I think that's
Yeah.
very insightful.
Yeah, because if you are not going to do this now at this age, at the primary level or the school level, there is no
Mhm.
point to educate a 40-year-old and ask him, "Can you please buy an EV?" He'd be like, "What are you
Right.
talking about, man?" My grandfather was driving in a
Right.
gasoline. So, yeah, so it's not so EV is just a part of it, Mike and Kevin. EV is just a part of it. You need to educate about waste management, which is another disaster that we are doing with the Mother Earth. You're talking about
Yep.
renewable energy, the use of renewable energy. Need to educate them why. Why are we doing
Yep.
it? Because United Nations, and UNESCO is crying every COP at every climate meeting about 1.5 C, about about
Mhm.
2 C. You need to tell them the facts that why are we doing it? This is because we need to achieve this. If we don't, you can see the hellfires coming up in states. You see the LA fires, you see the flood and storms, you see the tsunamis, you see the flood, unwanted weather that we have here right now, unwanted weather that you have in the States. This is all
Mhm.
challenges.
Yeah, those are very real challenges, and I completely agree. Another thing culturally that's on the table, and this is Elon Musk. This is a big thing for him, is the self-driving. He really thinks there's going to be a cultural shift. Again, thinking about kids, not thinking about people our age, right? Where they're not going to expect to drive because cars will just come and get them, take them where they're going. Because we have this company Waymo here, right? The
Right.
self-driving, and
Yeah.
it's actually in commercial use. Like if
Yeah.
you are ever in Phoenix, Arizona at the airport, you're going to see Waymo taxis driving by. It's bizarre. There's no driver. You know, it's just it pulls over, people get in, and it leaves. So,
I got to tell you a really quick, really funny story. I was in Santa Monica, and I saw one of my first self-driving cars, and it
yeah,
was on a busy road, and the car had parked, and it picked up a passenger, and it was about to get into the road, and I have no idea why, but from the car, I heard it was like an automated thing, and it was like, "Help me, help me." It was bizarre. I was like,
it was saying that to the passengers,
I
like,
have
give
no
me,
idea. It was so
tell me how to merge
confusing.
into
I'm
this
still trying to
traffic.
understand what it was.
Yeah.
It was like, I was like, oh no, it's a passenger anyway. But please
Oh,
continue with
God.
your question. It was just so funny.
Yeah.
Well, I
See,
just wanted to ask. Yeah, go ahead.
similar. I have done my own one video because a lot of people they ask me, you talk about autonomous cars. Have you sat in it? So to set an example, I sat in it with my daughter and my son, and I took a
Wow.
video.
Okay.
I took a video of 15-20 minutes ride. I took a lot of videos of it, but the thing is, I can't post it because then again, it will be like you're branding the image or I'm promoting that brand. So I don't want to do it, but I have done that. So
Got you.
so this is how you do it. How would you set standards? Because today's time, you cannot leave your kids alone in elevators or in escalators. They come with a caution note and a warning: do not leave the child of this age in the elevator alone, or escalator.
Mm.
Do not leave the child at this age on the escalator alone. How could you let your child to sit in a driverless car? The question is
Yeah.
this. Yes. So we need to be a bit brave. A lot of people told me that you're so brave. You took your kids. I'm like, yes, man, I am. I got to be brave.
Yeah, well, right. And kids will go with you, so you're all in the boat, right? But I was I didn't need to take that cab, but I was so fascinated. I really wanted to dial in a Waymo and just have it take me somewhere, just like you, just for the experience, right?
Period.
To be in an autonomous car. I think, in the Waymo cars in Arizona, they're Jaguars. They're Jaguar SUVs, right? So they're nice cars. But it's such a strange concept because I've driven myself my whole life. I'm not, 5 years old, and 15 years from now I'll be 20. And maybe if the world was using autonomous vehicles, it's just how the world is, right? Versus
I
how it is for me.
I think again it's a misconception. A lot of, again, education is important, awareness is important. Again, we go back to the
Mhm.
same thing that people don't know about it, so they just make a hype about it. You need to experience yourself, as you said. You saw, I sat, I was there. I know how it works, and I know how the algorithm works. I know
Mhm.
how the mechanism works, and I know why it can't make a mistake. And I know there are a lot of reasons to make also a
Oh,
mistake. So these are the myths, misconceptions are killing our market. Again,
mm.
people always ask me about that. You're talking about EVs, mobility, transition, transformation. Oh, maybe you're doing it because you want to sell your cars. I'm like, nowhere in my interview I would name my brand. I have never. And a lot of people they ask me, "What is your product?" I'm like, "Go check my website." You know.
Mm.
So this is it. So I am towards
Mhm.
the vision. I work toward the leadership to create that
Mhm.
vision, create that ambience, the atmosphere that people can come and adopt. Be it my product, I tell them, don't buy my product. I'm not asking you to buy my product. Just listen to the vision and what we're talking about, and then be your
Mhm.
own judge, and you can buy the product that you want. A lot of people are vegan. I'm not a meat lover. A lot of people, so it's a similar word. For
Right.
the vegan and
Yep.
the meat lover, it's a similar word. So now we're talking about EV or non-EV word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adeel,
Mm.
I know that kind of picking up on that point, like on the question of vision, right? So you've said that one, you think that Oman stands out as a favorable region for regulations and for basically driving the EV market. And the goals are to reduce carbon emissions by 3% by 2030, 34% by 2040, and 100% by 2050, with minimum of 22,000 EVs by 2040, which are big goals. So it's like great. One of the questions we have is like for you personally is, what was your aha moment? Just as what was Adeel's aha moment for, hey, we really need to make this transition, and you needed to step up and be a leader in this space. How did that evolve for you?
Okay, this question, I think for me, aha moment came from COP21. Okay, COP21, where they set the standards for 1.5C, where they spoke for the first time to the global leadership. They spoke about it. Then I started my research. What is it? What are we talking about? What is climate change?
Mhm.
What are we talking? So this was the aha moment. This is what gave me a wake up call that we need to do something towards it. And then my corporate management, my chairman, my board, they asked me to diversify the business because we are an oil and gas business group. Our entire business and the money ROI is all coming from oil and gas business. So Vision 2040 was also announced in Oman, and if you look at it, all the clause and all the development factors, they're all talking about sustainable development, talking about renewable energy, talking about smart cities, social development, corporate development, economic
Mhm.
development. And so these again combined with that aha moment became more louder to diversify because uh, at the government level there was a lot of boost, there's a lot of encouragement was given. Well, if you're going towards this transition, which is so true in Oman, for an EV, there is no customs on EV, zero VAT on EV, zero VAT on spare parts, and it is compulsory for every fuel station to have a charging station. This is the
Mhm.
law.
That's the law now in Oman, that every fuel station has to have an EV charging station.
Yes, yes, yes.
Wow.
And there's no economic barriers to importing. That's super
Yeah.
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Zero customs, zero VAT,
Mhm.
and zero VAT also on spare parts. So you're not
Mhm.
going wow. Again, this is why I said the compliance and the regulations are wow. These are already aha moments for a customer, for a corporate, or a corporate.
I wanted to ask the question in the broader GCC, right? To really understand if EV technologies sort of jurisdiction or responsibilities is really in Oman, or if it is broadcast across all nations participating in GCC.
Okay, Oman is a part of GCC. We
Hmm.
are operational in Oman. Our head office is in Oman. We are based in Oman. As I always say, that we are the pioneers of EV in Oman for the region. Right now, we are not in the region, but we have regional partners working with us, and we are
Okay.
planning in part. We are planning in the Q2 2025 to have our own offices in the region, because
Okay.
yeah, so the region is very friendly relations with every countries, similar laws, similar currency, similar economy. So you have easy partnerships and business partnerships and easy business transactions between them. So you don't have to be there in Dubai and to trade with Dubai. You can be in Oman and trade with Dubai. You know.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No, that's clear. Okay. I just want to understand that relationship, EV technology to GCC and how it worked. Um,
So how do you make this transition? But
Okay, so how do I do it? I solve challenges in EV adoption by combining innovation, strategic partnerships, and localized solutions. For example, to meet the unique demands of Oman and the GCC region, while contributing to global advancement and sustainable mobility. Now, how do I do this? By strategic partnership again is very important. I collaborate with industry leaders like go to you. What's it, sorry? Was it the second question, right?
Mike,
yeah.
was that your second question?
Yeah. No, because I was really specific to the GCC, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a big region, it's different countries, and and so that always offers extra challenges, right? So yeah, I was interested in how you guys are cooperating and working together.
So first thing, as I said, strategic partnership is very important. You need to
Mhm.
collaborate with international companies, like we did with GoToYou, American company. We have collaboration with the Chinese partners for charging stations. We have partnership with. We are working on the partnership with the digital parking solutions. We are working on the partnership for last mile delivery solutions. So probably this 2025 in January, a lot of news would come from us. We just released one news for GoToYou, where we have announced to become a charging point operator in Oman, and GoToYou is one of the, I think, they are like the McDonald's of software industry in charging solutions experiences. Then you need to focus on localized manufacturing and infrastructure. It's very important. So, by when I say localizing manufacturing infrastructure means by planning local factories to assemble AC/DC chargers and then integrating these chargers with with the digital parking solutions. In this way, you can address regional supply chain challenges and create a scalable model for smart cities. Then you need to work on affordability and accessibility, which is a very important part. So you need to design cost-effective strategies, like we are introducing EVs at 6,000 Omani Riyals to make sustainable mobility accessible. 6,000 Omani Riyals
Wow.
is like $10,000. So accessible to a wider audience, accelerating EV adoption in Oman and setting example for other emerging markets. So when we do this, the other emerging markets in our region can also copy paste the same job, or you can do the same compliance in the states. Then again, you need to work on tailored solutions for the region. Every region has to have its own solutions. So our focus is Oman Vision 2040. So we ensure solutions are aligned with economic diversification goals, from deploying charging stations along highways for long distance EV travel, for example, and
Yes.
then integrating to renewable energy into charging networks. So I think the
What's
Yeah.
solution. So
what's the
the
relationship of like manufacturer versus import for charging stations? Because you mentioned that you Oman has some being manufacturing for EV charging, is it mainly import? What does that look like?
I think we should be the first company going into. Sorry, you are talking about manufacturing? Yeah.
Manufacturing, yeah.
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 So yeah, I think we should be the first company in Oman to go into manufacturing of AC and DC level of DC chargers on a very small level. We are starting with in 2025. We we are working first. Our first phase is to assemble AC and DC chargers in Oman. This is the first phase. Second phase, by the Q4 2025, we should be able to set up a small factory for charging these chargers. So again, charging station DC, if you know about it, if you know about charging station DC are expensive.
Yeah.
AC chargers are not that expensive. So AC chargers again is the global demand is high because they are bought by small corporates, or they are mainly bought by residential units, and at the corporate level, you're talking about DC chargers, where uh, it's used at the highways, expressways, at the fuel operation centers, and everything. So the global impact of this would be the solutions to develop in Oman or elsewhere, such as efficient charging networks and sustainable mobility ecosystem, are designed to scale globally. That should contribute to the worldwide transition to net zero transportation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think charging infrastructure and layout is a super big obstacle, no doubt about it. I mean, because America is a road trip country, right? We vacation in our cars and we drive great distances, and that's a real challenge. You have a country here that's over 3,000 miles wide. So you're going to have to charge your EV several times. It's very easy to pull into a gas station. It's 2 minutes. You can fill up with gas and you're on your way. With EV charging, it's different. Now, look, this is just what has to evolve, and it will. I have every confidence that it will. It's just, it's a big part of the problem and a big part of the solution.
I still own the oldest iPhone. If you remember where we started, I still own that. I still have it, and I show it to my son sometime. So you need to understand this. The technology is innovating, evolving each and every
Right.
moment. Me and you're talking. So there
Yeah.
will be a time, maybe there will be a time. I don't want to talk about it because I know there are a lot of people working on something like this. There will be a time that maybe you will carry
Yep.
a charging station in your pocket.
Mm,
You know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah, or maybe It's again, a lot of people would make fun of it in 2025, but then again, this could be reality in 2040. Yeah. So again, innovation, as I said, innovation of electric vehicle technology is evolving every day. You would hear the news coming up for people working on 1,000 kilometer vehicle range. People are talking about 2,000 kilometer range. So they're working
Yeah.
on it. Work is on. Yeah. And
Yeah.
similar to the charging station, you're talking about 380 kilowatt. Someone has reached to 420 kilowatt. My own Star Charge has reached to 420 kilowatt. I think 420 to 480 kilowatt. Schneider has done things similar. ABB has done things similar. So these are the fast chargers where you can charge your car in 5 to 7 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. That'll be fantastic. That'll be amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so true that we all as human beings, we all want to know what's next. We're like prediction machines. We're always trying to, and we're like 99% of the time we're wrong. Like we can as much as we try and predict, here's what's going to happen. We always miss the mark. But um, looking at the future, though, Adeel, like I just would like to ask you, like what gives you hope for the future? What specifically do you feel is going in the right direction from a climate standpoint?
I think the future holds the key for the success of humanity. This is first, I would say. We, as human being, I always say this to my friends and foes, that we need to behave as human beings. When I say behave, not in the wrong term, we need to know the facts, man.
Yeah.
We need to get our facts right. I don't want to use the wrong word, but if we do not know the facts and we do not know where the future is taking us, there is no one is going to come and save. As there is a say that there is no planet B. This is the only planet we're going to live in, and
Right.
not
Yep.
and maybe some people are working in space, some people are working in and going in Mars. I don't want to name them, so they're working on Mars. But then again, not everyone can afford that. People are spending millions.
Mhm.
People are spending millions. I think some has. I forgot their names. They have spent millions to go for expedition to Mars or to the moon. So this is the only planet we're going to live in. So the future is already in our hands. If we are not going to behave, then it's a big sorry at the end of the world.
When you think about your kids, like what are you excited about going into 2025? Even what are you most excited about?
I think in 2025, I'm most excited about the loss and damage fund has been declared. So everyone should be getting their share to work towards this transition for climate change. So I think already the standards are set for the GCC region. The visions are set for electric mobility. Every region in GCC has its own goal towards transition. I'm very optimistic with a belief and great hope that we are in the right direction already. Yes, the challenges, as I said in the beginning of my webinar, that challenges are there, regional and global, and these challenges will remain in any innovation and technology. So we need to embrace the challenges and change, and maybe you turn these challenges into opportunities.
It's very clear the problem you're solving. Let me ask you from a person or a corporate perspective, how does that problem manifest? So how would an individual or a company know they have that problem?
I think in Oman and the GCC region, the problem manifests through several key barriers to EV adoption. First, as you know, limited charging infrastructure, that is a global and regional challenge. Many regions lack
Hmm.
uh, sufficient number of charging stations. This creates range anxiety in customers for potential EV buyers. For example, long trips between cities can feel daunting without a reliable charging network. You think a lot about going for a longer trip. Then higher temperature impacts on EVs. The extreme heat in the GCC region can damage EV batteries or charging equipment. Solutions should be tailored to withstand these conditions, and I'm sure the work is going on it, and there are some proven track records to work on the like heat resistant chargers and to create ensuring EV longevity and reliability. Then affordable EVs, as I said, is very important. With the global market is embracing EVs, affordability remains an issue anywhere in the world, especially for mid-tier markets in the GCC region. So our strategy is to introduce, as I said, to smart EVs at the competitive price of 6,100 riyals, which is around 10 which is around 15 to $20,000. Then making sustainable mobility accessible to a broader segment of the population. And then lack of awareness and trust in EV technology. Again, going towards the role modeling, vision, and creating the atmosphere and the ambience that you already believe that you're working towards climate change. So the lack of awareness and less trust in EV technology, despite the push for sustainability, many consumers are hesitant still about the performance and the longevity of their EVs. By providing clear localized information and building trust through strategic partnership with trusted global names. We should be bridging this knowledge gap. Now, global relevance. What is the global relevance in it? These issues are not exclusive in Oman, as I said, or the GCC. Across the world, countries face similar challenges, whether it's a challenge of building charging infrastructure or adapting to climate conditions, ensuring EVs are affordable for the masses. So, I think by tackling these problems locally, I'm helping myself to create solutions that can be scaled globally, contributing to a smoother and sustainable transition to electric mobility worldwide.
That's very clear on how it manifests, and I think that's fantastic. Let me ask you a question about, the current state is today, and then there'll come a time when it's the future state. So how will it look and work when you feel that you've accomplished sort of phase one of what you're doing?
I think the before picture would look like this: that the companies, organizations, and individuals in Oman or the GCC struggle with the complexities of EV adoption, whether it's a lack of charging structure, high vehicle cost, or concerns of overperformance and extreme heat. For example, businesses looking to invest in EVs, they're still hesitant due to limited charging stations in key locations, while consumers face
Hmm.
similar challenges such as high impact, cost, and range anxiety during long trips. Now, the after picture would be by partnering with global and business experience companies. Uh, we would be creating seamless access to a robust and accessible EV infrastructure, with charging stations deployed in strategic location across Oman and the region. Then individuals can also benefit from affordable EV options like smart vehicles. As I said, we are in the session of providing it, and then empowering masses to make the shift to sustainable mobility without breaking the bank. So my work transformed Oman or the region into a regional EV hub with innovative charging solutions designed to endure extreme climates, making EV ownership practical and efficient and affordable. As a result, not only does the local economy embrace greener transportation, but Oman also sets an example for other region, and the global market on how to tackle these unique challenges in EV adoption. And in terms of global impact, before and after would look like on a broader scale, I would say the solutions developed in Oman, such as heat resistant charging networks or infrastructure and affordable EV models, uh, can shape the global EV transition. What we create here is being adopted, for example, worldwide, helping other regions with similar challenges to transition to e mobility more effectively.
Adeel, I just wanted to thank you so much for joining the show. Adeel is the COO at EV Technology based in Oman, and he's shed a lot of light on the process in Oman for EV charging and globally, and been fascinating discussions. So, yeah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Adil.
much. Thank you so much, Kevin, and thank you so much, Mike. I'm very happy. Just a last disclaimer I want to give: this is my personal opinion, my own feedback, my own review, my own opinion. That does not depict my corporate opinions. Please. Thank you so much, guys.
The views represented by Adeel in the show are the views of Adeel alone. So,
Thank you so much, guys.